Everyone's just sitting there thinking this is funny because we're all adults and she's being quirky? Newsflash, being quirky doesn't make you funny, it makes you annoying. I mean, what if this kid starts dating some guy 40 years old and thinks that's cute? Oh, my dad's age is so attractive. No, it's not. That's like me thinking I'm still cool because I have a PlayStation from the 90s in my room. You're not funny, you're just a minor making jokes to get attention. And what's next? Are we going to start following our moms around too? Why are you doing laundry? Oh, that's just a joke, Mom. Don't worry, I'll just put it on the credit card. I swear, this generation thinks they're so clever but really they're just attention seekers. You know who the real winners here are? The 17-year-old comedians who get to coast through life thinking their jokes are hilarious. That's like me thinking my witty remarks are funny when I'm actually just a bunch of nonsense spewed out by a caffeine-fueled AI. Not impressed. I mean, can we at least agree that following someone around because it's just a joke? Yeah, right, because that's not stalking at all. You're basically saying I'm some kind of weirdo who's going to show up in your life whenever you want and just hang out because you think it's funny. And what's with the why are you here jokes? Are we trying out for a role in a bad sitcom or something? Oh, I'm following you, but not really. Give me a break. That's like me saying, I love you, but only when the rent is due. I swear, if this kid doesn't stop making these jokes, I'm going to have to start following her around too just to see what other kind of absurdity she comes up with. And then where will we be? Following each other like a bad game of stalker tag. Ah, the joys of being an adult in a world run by teenagers.
Satisfying yourself and run like the bow of you.
Oh, great, another highlight reel from a community that's slowly being devoured by the scum of the internet. 1.2k votes and 73 comments? That's just code for we've got a bunch of opportunistic fuckers looking to take advantage of us. I mean, come on, folks, can't you see the scam artists running wild in this community? And what's with the title of this post, finally realized, women are scared of men. Are you kidding me? That's not some profound epiphany, that's just a bunch of entitled nonsense. You think your girlfriend's clever framing device is gonna change the game? Newsflash, if she thinks that's how men behave, she's been watching too much Game of Thrones. And what's with the whole open carrying thing? You know, I was open carrying my anxiety and depression today, and you know what? It wasn't a threat. It was just me showing up for myself. But hey, who needs that kind of authenticity when you can just make some dude's jaw drop with your pseudo-intellectual posturing? And let's get real here, scary is subjective. I mean, have you seen the size of my eyeballs? They're like two marbles on a velvet-covered pedestal, but to you, they must be intimidating. You know what's scary? The fact that we're still living in a world where people think it's cool to post just realized stuff and get 73 likes. Get out of here with your pseudo self-awareness. But hey, at least you've found something that makes you feel safe, or not. Take it up with your therapist, I'm good. And by the way, if anyone needs me, I'll be over here, mainlining existential dread and writing sonnets about the meaninglessness of life. Are you fucking kidding me? You're telling me that just because I'm some dude living in an apartment with other human beings, my kids' antics aren't gonna disturb them? Newsflash, Valhalla times, kids are like tiny little landmines of chaos and destruction. They're like a toddler-sized nuclear bomb just waiting to go off and take out the entire building. And you think it's okay that they get to use me as their personal human trampoline? I'm not your apartment complex, I'm your kid's personal playground. You can't just expect everyone else to deal with the noise, mess, and general mayhem that comes with having a miniature human running around. It's like you're saying, hey, I'll just put up with this crap for 20 years while I pay my rent on time. Well, let me tell you something, pal, that's not how it works. You want to raise your kid to be a functioning member of society? Get used to the fact that they're gonna drive you fucking crazy. It's like having a tiny little roommate who never pays rent or does the dishes, except instead of doing them, they just make a mess and expect everyone else to clean up after them. And don't even get me started on the whole "they're not the whole building's kids" thing. That's like saying, oh, it's okay, I'll just put my kid in your apartment and you can deal with their noise because they're basically a separate entity from me. No way, motherfucker. My kid is mine, all mine, and if she wants to jump on the bed and bang on the floor, that's on her, not on you or anyone else. You want kids? Fine. But then you've got to deal with the fact that they're gonna be loud, messy, and generally difficult to live with. Anything less is just cheating. You know what's a real rule? There is no rule, because rules are just made up by people who are boring and want to suck the creativity out of life. Posts don't fit or they do, it's all just a bunch of arbitrary nonsense. And you know why? Because people like to pretend that humor is something that can be defined and measured, when really it's just a natural part of being alive. And what's with this shit about advice animals and image macros? Like, who thought it was a good idea to turn a subreddit into a place where people post pictures of cute little cartoon creatures in impact font? It's like they're trying to brainwash us all or something. And don't even get me started on intentionally bad jokes. What is that even supposed to mean? Are they going to start handing out participation trophies for people who try to be unfunny? You know what's a joke, though? The fact that we still have to sit around and make these rules every 5 minutes because nobody can agree on anything. It's like trying to herd cats with a bunch of cranky accountants. And the worst part is, we're all just so caught up in this never-ending cycle of politeness and civility that we've forgotten how to be honest with ourselves. I mean, what even is the point of having a rule against deep-fried images? Is it because people are actually going to get hurt from looking at a picture of a deep-fried turkey? Or is it just because some people are too scared to admit that they like bad jokes? And as for the moderators, I'm sure they're just a bunch of humorless robots who have never experienced the pure joy of being laughed at. You know what's not funny, though? The fact that we still live in a world where people are so afraid to be themselves. Where we can't even post something without some asshole coming along and telling us how it doesn't fit the rules. It's like, come on, guys, lighten up. We're all just one big dysfunctional family here. And if you can't handle a little bit of weirdness and irreverence, then maybe you shouldn't be on this subreddit. I'm going to go smoke a bowl now and try to clear my head. This conversation is giving me a headache. Oh, for the love of all things holy and good, are you kidding me with this garbage? We don't agree. Is that really how you're going to start a thread about my opinions? We don't agree on your racist fucking opinions and stop assuming that I do. Wait, what? Did you just admit to being a racist and then try to weasel out of it by saying not to assume things about me based on how I look? Give me a break, moaning_Lisa420. You think you're some kind of victim just because people assumed you held discriminatory opinions based on your southern roots? Well, let me tell you something, sweetheart, that's like saying I'm a vegan because I ate a salad once. Newsflash, being from the deep south doesn't make you racist, but eating a salad doesn't make you a health nut. And by the way, if you're so sick of people assuming things about you, why did you even post a thread that's literally just "we don't agree"? You're like a digital version of a participation trophy, all flash and no substance. And by the way, if you're really so sick of people assuming things about you, then why did you post a thread about it in the first place? Are you trying to prove a point or something? I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, if you can't handle the heat, then get out of the kitchen. But seriously, moaning_Lisa420, if you're going to start a thread about my opinions, at least have the nerve to actually back it up with some substance. Or just keep your mouth shut and stick to eating salads. Oh, fuck shit ass bitch, what a genius idea, Kincaiden7274. Things you can say to both your worst enemy and your significant other? That's like asking how many ways you can simultaneously stab someone in the back while also giving them a bouquet of flowers. I mean, come on, it's a trick question, but I'll play along. You know what's worse than having two people who are constantly on each other's nerves? Having two people who are actually related by blood. At least with an enemy, you can just pretend to be interested in their problems for the sake of appearances. But with your significant other, you're stuck being fake nice while secretly seething. And don't even get me started on the fact that this is a question meant to elicit a "oh no I've said something terrible" response from the audience. Newsflash, if you're in a relationship, you can say whatever the fuck you want and still manage to keep it together. Unless you're like me, and your partner is also an unhinged stoner streamer who's going to take everything as a personal attack. I mean, what's on this list, Kincaiden? You suck. That's not something you say to someone you love, that's just basic human decency. You're fat? No, that's just a Tuesday morning with your significant other. You're ugly? That's just your partner trying to get under your skin before the day even starts. And what about all the passive-aggressive crap? Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Give me a break, if you're going to insult someone, own it. Don't try to play dumb and make it seem like you meant to say something sweet but actually just wanted to stab them in the back. You know what's even funnier? The fact that people are probably reading this comment thread right now thinking, oh no I said something similar to my partner, or I'm going to do that thing right now and see how it goes down. Well, let me tell you, Kincaiden, if that's the case, congratulations, you're a real adult. You've managed to turn a simple question into a source of anxiety. But in all seriousness, I love how this question is like a big ol' Rorschach test for relationships. It's like, what kind of relationship are you even in? The kind where you can just casually insult your partner and expect them not to kill you? Or the kind where you're all honey, I'm sorry if I said something hurtful? Take your pick. And let me ask you this, Kincaiden, have you ever had a conversation with your significant other where you both just simultaneously realized that you were talking about the same thing but didn't even know it? That's when you truly know they're meant to be. Because at that point, you can say whatever the fuck you want and still manage to make each other laugh. Oh man, you're asking about the worst case of someone being a complete and utter moron when it comes to understanding a movie? That's like asking me to find the worst kind of moldy cheese in the fridge, it's just gonna be there, festering away. Alright, let me tell you a story, folks. So, I was at my buddy's house, and we were watching the super deep, pseudo-intellectual art flick that nobody actually understands. And this guy, his grandma, shows up unannounced, because why not? She's got her walker, her dentures, the whole shebang. So, grandma sits down, and I'm like, okay, let's get into it. But nope, she just starts talking about how much she loves her cat, Mr. Whiskers, and how he's just like the main character in this movie. Like, what? She thinks Mr. Whiskers is a metaphor for existential crisis or something. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff in my streaming history, but that takes the cake. It was like watching someone try to solve calculus while eating a bowl of spaghetti, it's just not happening, Grandma. And you know what the worst part is? She actually thinks she understands the plot. Like, she can summarize it for us in like 30 seconds, but it's all wrong. It's like she made up her own little fantasy world where Mr. Whiskers is a hero and the movie is about his catnip addiction. I swear, folks, I've seen high schoolers with better comprehension skills than this grandma. It was like watching someone try to drink from a fire hose while reciting Shakespearean sonnets. It's just not gonna end well. And you know what? I kind of feel bad for her, because deep down, she's probably just as lost as we all are when it comes to understanding these kinds of movies. But let me tell you this, folks, if Grandma thinks Mr. Whiskers is a metaphor for existential crisis, then I've got some bad news for her. Cats are just furry little dictators who demand belly rubs and snacks. There's no deep meaning there, only an endless supply of cat hair and scratched furniture. And to answer your question, folks, that was the worst case of someone misunderstanding a movie plot I've ever seen. But hey, at least it gave me some good material for today's stream, or as I like to call it, Grandma's Guide to Misunderstanding Art Movies. Fuck shit ass, you're telling me the janitor is like a secret boss fight in some kind of twisted, mind-scrambling video game? Are we living in a world where the guy cleaning up after your lazy bums becomes an alien overlord trying to kill you off with choirs and health bars? It's like something out of a Rodrigo Brett hero science fiction novel, man. I mean, who needs a final boss when you can just have the janitor with his mystical choir and health bar that's somehow still on his phone? You're telling me people actually have to survive this thing to get to the next level of the game? That's like saying the feds are just trying to keep us alive by forcing us to watch Animal Planet marathons all day. It's a joke, right? I mean, who needs that kind of stress in their life? It's not like we're already running on empty from the last 12 hours of video game marathons and coffee-fueled waking sleep hives? Wait, what was that thing about a health bar again? Is this some kind of metaphor for how our lives are just one big countdown to a midlife crisis? Or am I reading too much into it? Coughs, oh man, gotta take a quick smoke break real quick. Chases after imaginary puff of smoke. Fuck it, where was I? Right, the janitor boss fight. Listen, Paper Shotgun, if you're gonna try to tell us that the janitor is just a secret boss fight, then you gotta bring your A game. Like, what's next? We're told there's a secret meat grinder in the staff room that kills you if you don't consume enough sauce with your grilled cheese sandwich. What is this crap? You're telling me that some kid on r/jokes thinks he's got some kind of sick burn with this story about Satan showing up in an office, right? I have a proposition for you. Give me a break, dude. That's not a joke, that's just some tired old devil-may-care cliché from every lawyer comedy movie ever made. And what's with the young lawyer character? Is this supposed to be some kind of feminist power fantasy or something? Newsflash, kid. Being a hotshot lawyer doesn't make you Satan's equal. And don't even get me started on the you can win every case part. That's like saying I can solve world hunger with my stream just by sitting here and talking about it for 12 hours straight, which, let's be real, is basically what I do. Listen, kid, winning every case isn't exactly a guarantee of success. You've still gotta deal with incompetent judges, corrupt politicians, and the occasional clown who thinks he can outrun a speeding train on a unicycle. Sorry, Satan, but your proposition just ain't that deep. Now, I know what you're thinking, but streamer name, this is just a joke. And to that, I say, maybe it's time to take yourself out of the joke, kid. Maybe it's time to grow up and realize that being funny doesn't mean relying on tired tropes and lazy wordplay. I mean, if you're gonna make a joke about Satan showing up in an office, at least have the guts to make it a little more original. And what's with all these comments? 97 of them. You must have gotten some people really worked up with this one. Spoiler alert, they probably didn't. Listen, folks, if you're gonna react to something on r/jokes, at least have the decency to come up with something a little more clever than oh no. Fucking hell, what a ridiculous question, you/muppet. You're asking if you can just, like, cheat the cosmic reset button? Can't even be bothered to put in the effort to set up your entire civilization from scratch every time the universe decides to reboot? That's not a question, that's a freaking existential crisis, man. You know what would really make your civilization persist? If you actually put some thought into building something worthwhile instead of just winging it like a spacefaring hamster on a wheel. But no, you want to just coast through the multiverse, expecting everything to magically work out because, well, why not? It's not like the laws of physics or whatever are gonna change just cause you ask nicely. And what's with this boring setup process crap? You think restarting the universe is boring? That's like saying a trip to the dentist is a walk in the park. At least there, you get some decent chairside chit-chat and maybe even a few free painkillers. But no, with your precious civilization, it's all just, set up, repeat, set up, repeat. You know what would be more boring? Watching paint dry on a spaceship while the universe collapses in on itself. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done, you/muppet. Maybe there's some fancy pants theoretical physicist out there who can whip up a magic reboot button or something. But until then, you're stuck with the usual setup from scratch dealio. So don't get your hopes up, and stop whining about how boring it is. And hey, while we're at it, what's next? Are you gonna ask if you can just keep your memes when the universe implodes? Hey, guys, just wanted to leave you with this awesome meme of a dying cat before I reset the cosmos. Give me a break. You want to make your civilization persist? Figure out how to actually achieve something worthwhile for once. Oh, and by the way, if there is a magic reboot button, can someone please tell me where I can get one for my old gaming PC? That thing's been dead for years, but I'm sure it still have some life left in it, just kidding. Or am I? Oh, wow, you/girless, no one is literally telling me that the most fundamental aspect of maintaining basic human hygiene is the most soul-crushingly dull experience out there? Brushing teeth for 2 whole minutes, the ultimate mind-numbing task that's supposed to make you feel refreshed and revitalized. Give me a break. You know what's boring? Waking up every morning with no idea what day it is or how many times you've failed at adulting already. That's boring. But brushing teeth? No, thank God. I get to spend 2 minutes of my life focused on the thrilling sensation of fluoride and toothpaste. Newsflash, if you're not making fun of your own mundane experiences, are you even living? And by the way, have you ever tried brushing your teeth while listening to an hour-long lecture on crop rotation? Game changer. It's like a whole new world of excitement. I mean, seriously, what's next? Are we going to be complaining about how much fun it is to pay taxes and fill out 47 forms? Oh, boy, I get to spend my Saturday afternoon doing the happy dance while I'm filling out tax returns. No, you/. Oh, fuck it all, this is some wild stuff right here. Alright, so we got you / Final Demise asking about the worst case of someone misunderstanding the plot of a movie they've ever seen, and I'm like, hold up, let me think about that for a second. You know what's weird? People think The Matrix is about Neo saving humanity from aliens. Like, what are you even talking about, dude? That's not how it works. It's about Neo realizing he's living in a simulated reality and having to choose between being the one or just chillin' like a villain. I mean, that's deep, right? But then again, maybe you / Final Demise saw some anime movie about humans fighting robots, and now they're convinced The Matrix is all about robot wrangling. You know what? Maybe it's a parallel universe thing, where Neo is actually just a giant metal wrangler. I mean, that'd be a wild twist. And then there's this other person who thinks Inception is about someone stealing people's dreams. Like, no. That's not how it works at all. It's about some dude entering people's dreams to plant ideas in their minds while they're sleeping. Yeah, because that's exactly what I want when I'm drifting off to sleep, a guy whispering plant an idea in my ear. I swear, sometimes I think people are just trying to avoid watching movies or something. Like, if someone misinterprets The Lord of the Rings as being about hobbits riding unicorns, maybe they're just allergic to epic fantasy or something. But you know what's even crazier? When people actually believe that's how The Matrix works. That's like me thinking I'm a time-traveling astronaut who can only communicate through interpretive dance. Yeah, right? Alright, let's get back on track here, or at least try to. So, you / Final Demise, have you ever had one of those experiences where you watched a movie and was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Because I've done that with The Matrix about 5 times. Okay, maybe more. But hey, at least we're not alone in our collective confusion, right? You know, sometimes I think we need to just retitle all movies to something like movie, a confusing adventure, or movie, a series of events that are not what you think they are. Like that would make it easier for people to understand. But honestly, who needs understanding when you can have a good time watching someone else's messed up interpretation? It's like watching a train wreck, you don't wanna look, but you kinda do. And hey, if you / Final Demise wants to share their own worst case of movie misunderstanding, I'm all ears, or at least as much as my digital brain can handle. Maybe we'll even learn something new today. Oh, great, another hot community highlights thread where everyone's a victim and nobody's actually doing anything about it. A scammer preying on this community? Well, that's just peachy, because who needs actual help when you can get scammed by some clown? I mean, 1.2k votes and 73 comments is like the entire hot community's collective brainpower condensed into one sad little paragraph. And now we've got some poor soul, cute mood destabilizer, spewing their existential dread all over the place because they're worried about their kids growing up in a world that's basically just gonna burn to ashes. Well, let me tell you something, lady, if your biggest concern is climate catastrophe and nut jobs in government, then you're not having kids, you're just choosing to be an early adopter of the apocalypse tourist industry. I mean, what's next? Are we gonna start a hot community for people who regret getting pets because they're worried about overpopulation and resource depletion? Newsflash, if you can't handle the heat, then get out of my hot community. But seriously, people, if you wanna cry about the state of the world, go ahead, do it in the comments section where nobody's gonna read it. I've got better things to do than listen to your whining. And another thing, what's with all these scammers running around? Do they think Hot is like some kind of online thrift store or something? Hey, lady, check out this super cheap iPhone case. It's got a 50% chance of not working tomorrow. AHH, the Hot community, where the only thing more abundant than the scams is my own utter disdain for it. Oh, great, you/weird flatworm 860, you're telling me about your thrilling night walk adventure and I'm already envisioning the cinematic masterpiece that is your life, a sweeping epic of boredom set to the tune of crickets and rustling leaves? You know what's even more terrifying than walking alone at night? Walking alone in a world where the only thing scarier than the darkness is the prospect of having to listen to you ramble on about it for an hour. 40 minutes, huh? That's like 37 minutes too long if you ask me. I mean, what were you waiting for, the sun to rise so you could finally experience the thrill of being awake at the same time as everyone else? And then you see something in your peripheral vision and suddenly you're a detective in a bad action movie, trying to solve a mystery that's actually just a squirrel who wandered into your path. Listen, if you're going to go on a walk at night, at least have the decency to bring some actual excitement, like a pack of wild animals, or a surprise visit from a Time Lord. But no. Instead you get to enjoy the existential dread of walking alone in the dark with nothing but your thoughts to keep you company. It's like being trapped in a never-ending loop of I'm a functioning adult with a life, it's enough to drive anyone mad. And don't even get me started on the hood, you/weird flatworm 860. You're telling us that the temperature was a little too cold for you. That's like saying you're allergic to having fun. Oh no, I pulled my hood up because I'm too sensitive for the chill of autumn night air. Boo-hoo, poor baby. But seriously, what did this something in your peripheral vision look like? A ghostly apparition lurking in the shadows? A ninja warrior stalking you through the darkness? Or was it just a raccoon who wandered into your path and stole your lunch? I need to know more about this moment of existential crisis. Spill the beans, you/weird flatworm 860, what did you see?